Hello everybody, my name is Sam, my pronouns are they, he, and I am the Communications Officer for the Football vs Homophobia Youth Panel.
Hi, I'm Angharad, my pronouns are she, her, and I am the Co-Coordinator of the Football vs Homophobia Youth Panel and fresh off maternity leave, so I need a bit of a warm-up.
My name is Jahmal Howlett-Mundle. I'm a semi-pro footballer for Sheppey United and my pronouns are he, him.
Oh.
See, this can be quite a hard one to answer because I don't know about you guys, but when I kind of first started coming to terms with my sexuality, I was always explained that, I must be pansexual because I don't care if someone's non-binary and stuff like that. But the more you come to realise it, the more you realise that's not the case at all. I always say it's kind of more just a case of however you feel, whatever you feel suits you more than it, by definition, it's bisexual is two or more, you're attracted to two or more genders. Pansexual, you're attracted to all genders. But, I fall anywhere in between that. So it's hard to really put a categorization on it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the same as you, to be honest, because as you said, two or more, in terms of genders, but it doesn't really matter. How do you know where you fall into one subcategory or another?
Yeah. I think it's, it's a weird distinction that if you're bisexual and you don't really care whether someone's male or female, that suddenly you would care if they were non-binary. It's just very strange. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm sure there's people that do fall into that category, but just for me, I can't wrap my head around it because my attraction. I've dated non-binary people. I've dated men, women. I've
everybody, Sam.
Yeah, I've tried the whole buffet, and I've seen where I fall. But yeah, it's a hard one. I think I did actually make a joke with my friend who's pansexual the other day. We were walking up to the parade on Southampton Pride. I had my little bi pride flag. She had her pan pride flag. And we kind of just decided that the reason we decided each one is because we preferred the colours on the flag.
I think like when I was younger, I thought like bisexual, I had that kind of like old-fashioned view that like bisexuality was like not like very inclusive and like it was a bit old-fashioned. And then it's that thing of the definition, I think, has like maybe not changed over time, but like I understand it differently, and it is that two or more thing. And I don't know if this is a really bad thing to admit, like, but I actually don't know what the difference is between bi and pan. Do you know what I mean? Like, is there a difference? Someone help me, I don't know.
As I said, I just think it's a self-identity thing. It's however you feel. It's when you read this definition, whatever, or you hear stories from other people who are bi or pan, whatever one you feel you fit into more, that's it. Like, there doesn't have to be any kind of set rules. Like, it kind of defeats the object of being bi if there has to be set rules to how you identify as bi.
Yeah. How bisexual are you?
I mean,
how bisexual are you? I'm trying to think, what does that mean?
But the more upsetting part of this is I feel like this isn't the first time I've been asked this question. Like, I feel like this is, it comes down to, and it comes in many different forms. You hear about the percentages a lot, which just, that's not how that works. Like, you're 50%, you're 60% attracted to girls and 40% attracted to, no, you're just, I fall in love with who I fall in love with, like, or I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to. But then it's also the whole thing of like how, I think we discussed it actually last year on the podcast, I discussed it with Amy, who's also on the youth panel, is this idea that suddenly people think they're owed the right to ask about your sex life just because you're bisexual. It's just like, well, so how many men have you slept with? How many girls have you slept with? It's like, I've just met you and we're in a club and I'm just about to do a shot. Like, what? This doesn't seem like the time to be having this conversation. I can barely hear you. Like, it's just, it's a very, I feel like that whole thing is like, very summarizes a lot of the attitudes towards bisexuality.
Yeah, of course. It's really difficult because if you're seen with a man, it's a man with a man, it's, oh, okay, you must be gay. Or if you're a bisexual person, that's seen with a woman as, oh, you must be straight. And that's just not fair. So how can you ask someone, how bisexual are you? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I used to have like loads and loads of insecurity about my like sexuality because I feel like I used to feel very much like, oh, I didn't really like fit properly into like the kind of queer community. But then I didn't really feel like fully in like, you know, whatever. I don't know if you can say the heterosexual community, but you know what I mean. And I just think that and yeah, like I just think that I've had a lot more relationships with like men than women, but then I don't think that that is like anything to do with I'm like more, you know, I'm not that bisexual or I'm not, or like I'm more straight or more gay. I just think everybody falls on a spectrum somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody, like if you got rid of labels, which obviously is like, you know, it's an ideal world, but not going to happen anytime soon. We're all just falling somewhere on a spectrum. If you got rid of stigma and homophobia and all that stuff, a lot of people that identify as straight would probably fall a bit different on that spectrum. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's just a weird question.
What?
How do animals come up in every one of these?
I don't know. It's so homophobic, isn't it? Like every single one of this, something to do with animals comes up. I don't know if I do think it's homophobic. So just think like, what's it got to do with animals? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's people trying to figure out like if other animals in the, you know, the animal kingdom are queer as well.
Yeah. I just think it, at the end of the day, what we equate animals down to is they are there to kind of like seems to be what a lot of people still think humans should be doing, even though we claim to be of much higher intelligence, is this idea of that it's just reproduction, and that's the animal kingdom, but it's not what humans have become. And I'm sure if animals were able to eloquently label themselves in some way, then these problems will come up, but it's not really relevant because it's not something that comes up. Although there is apparently gay penguins, so why wouldn't there be bisexual penguins, I guess?
And I think that there's companionship in like other animals. Like there's animals that like they find like their opposite animals so that they can reproduce, but then they have like their pack is with all male or all female. Do you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, so, you know, maybe that is a type of bisexuality where they have the romance with the same gender and then they have the reproduction with the opposite or something. I don't know.
Tons of research has been done into that.
Whoever the fuck we want.
Yeah. That's the point, yeah.
I've got to beat that, but this comes down to like, stop trying to put us in a box. That's literally the point of us being bisexual, so we don't want to be in a box. Like,
it just doesn't need to be all about what people look like or what people act like. It can be that connection with people and the emotional connection. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, I like people, and some people I really don't like, but I don't really care about like who, like how they present. It's just who they are as a person, you know?
Yeah, and also like if you get along with someone, whether it's the same sex or opposite sex, then you get along with them, you know? If you're attracted to them, same sex or opposite sex, then cool, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have got to fight something that's naturally come into them in terms of some kind of attraction. I'm sure a lot of people, like, there is going to be people that fall into categories of only actually being attracted to one gender. Of course, you know, that happens, I guess. I couldn't possibly relate to it, but I know it obviously happens. But I wonder how many people in the world are fighting an attraction to like their best mate or something like that, or just, you know, just something where
to go and explore and see who you are, you know, because what you spend your time doing is essentially who you become. So if you don't spend time finding out the questions that you have within yourself without the fear of what the wider society are going to think of you, then you're never going to know, and you're never going to be happy, are you?
Oh, okay, I do know this meme, I guess, is the thing. I don't know where it originates from, but I have found myself finding it to be more true, because even as I'm saying this, I've got my my kind of chair that goes back, and I can't help but start like leaning back, and I don't know what, but when the first time I heard this kind of in joke, I guess, and like the queer community always has like certain in jokes and whatever else within each identity. And the first time I heard this was my friend said something about, there was a tweet. It was like, people seem to think of bisexual as a pit stop between straight and gay. I replied to it saying, yeah, but wouldn't it be like a really fun pit stop on the road? Something like that, something stupid like that. And my friend was like, I don't know if it'd be that fun, or if it'd just be people like sitting awkwardly in chairs waiting for early onset back pains. And I didn't hear of this joke before, but apparently that's a common meme within the bisexual community, is that we never sit properly on chairs or sofas or whatever.
Why? I don't get it.
No, I don't know.
I don't get it at all.
Well, it's, I don't know, it's a very strange thing where it's just apparently that's the thing that people have noticed, and I've kind of noticed it myself. I don't know if I'm then just mirroring the behaviour just because I've heard of it now, but like I do find myself like ending up like sitting on the floor when there's a sofa that's free behind me, just stuff like that. I don't know.
Football, I always sit on the floor. Everyone else says, I sit on the floor.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay. I sit on the floor a lot as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's a bisexual trait.
Yeah. Things come up. Maybe it's just because we can't decide where we want to sit.
Indecisive. That's a terrible joke. That's awful, Sam.
I know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I do actually know what this is. Maybe this is my kind of filming background. So bisexual lighting is apparently, I haven't noticed it too much, but in TV shows and movies, when a character is having their kind of bisexual moment, whether it's in a nightclub or wherever the scene is being set, the lighting is like the kind of red and blue lighting of the bi flag, and that's a common thing to kind of signal a bi identity in movies and in TV shows and stuff like that. I haven't noticed it that much, but it is a thing that I've heard of a few times.
I'm gonna look out. I haven't noticed that either.
Yeah.
There's something that you wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think it stems from a place, and I think we touched on a little bit earlier, is a bi identity can be hard to make visible, because unless they're also polyamorous and they've got a guy and a girl on each arm and a non-binary person on their shoulders, like there's no way of there's not like most queer identities are visible via relationships, and that's not really a thing in bisexuality. There's not a relationship that is can summarize being bisexual, invisibly at least, with a preference.
It comes back to the spectrum thing again. Like people might maybe fall on spectrum where they're like further one way or another, but even then that's just so defining. And I think most bi people, not to speak for a whole group of people, but most bi people don't want to be like, percentage, or this is where I am on the spectrum. They just want to be, I am a bi person, I love who I love, I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to, and like that's the end of that. Do you know what I mean? So
it's not fair to say that you have a preference of a gender over another, because you could be with a woman today as a bi woman, and you could be with a man tomorrow as a bi man. Why should it matter in terms of how much time you spend with one gender over another? It's really fair. It's very not inclusive.
And not to be this person, but also like, gender's a social construct, and really like we shouldn't be like basing everything on gender, like this really rigid thing, like that means anything. Do you know what I mean? We just all are told to dress and act a certain way because of the bodies that we have, and it's all bullshit. Sorry if you leave me out. It's all bullshit, and it's nonsense. So yeah, that's my point. It's shit.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what we're talking about, this whole thing, isn't it? Bisexual imposter syndrome is just that. It's you're guilted into thinking that you have to be a certain way when that completely defeats the object of being bisexual.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really difficult sometimes, because I don't know how you guys feel, but as a man that identifies as a man, sometimes I find myself thinking, oh, is it okay to be a woman? You know, like, as a man that identifies as a man, when I'm with a man, I'm like, oh, is it okay to be with a man? I'm like, oh, but this is what I want, you know? So why should I fight urges? Why should I fight what society expects for men or women or anybody else to be, you know, or who they want to be? And yeah, I struggle with imposter syndrome a lot, you know. It's like, oh, is how I feel okay to feel like this outside of my own head? I don't know if you guys ever feel like that as well.
Yeah.
I think, it's just that thing of, allowing yourself to be actually what your natural self is pushing you to be.
Yeah.
And pushing